Before we get into the actual technique, just some exercises to help get you ready to be able to perform the move. A lot of times I feel when people learn a new technique or a jiu-jitsu move, it's something that doesn't quite correlate with their own personal strength and ability. So if you haven't done enough push-ups or you haven't done whatever the exercise it might be, so for butterfly guard, really make sure it's all in the feet, the ankles, the calves, the hamstrings, your core, but just pretty much your lower half. You need to constantly kind of replicate the same thing you're going to do with the butterfly. So one of those exercises I do is I sit square, I post one hand, I scoot out to the side to help load up the leg. I'm going to bring my arm in like I'm catching the base, and I'm going to put my shoulder right next to my knee. This foot will push off the ground while this foot goes to the ceiling. I don't want you to practice a rainbow motion. I want it to go straight up and then back down. And then you can switch to the other side, up, back down, up, and then back down. And as I do this, I'm not basing on my head, I'm on my foot and my shoulder. And the closer your foot is to your shoulder, the higher up you'll be able to lift up your leg. The further out, you don't get quite the extension. So I bring my foot in, up, and I'm here. And my head just kind of acts as a little bit of a kickstand, but not really supporting any weight. One more drill before we begin the technique. Make sure when you're sitting butterfly guard, you have your feet, just the tops of them, just inside the knees. Don't ever try to hook actually behind the knee while someone's sitting up and still on their knee. If she sits up and I hook my foot behind here and she sits back down, it hurts my foot. So I just keep my feet here. However, the idea is when she starts to lift her legs up or even go to her feet, I have to maintain constant control and always pull my feet into those butterfly positions and just trying to keep constant tension. And if I lose a hook, just replacing it, just getting it back in there and making sure. And you don't have to be just inside the knees. You can concentrate going back and forth as long as you're using your hooks to control below the knee line. Now for the sweep, and also using the concept, remember the concept said a down knee, a force of direction, and blocking the base to get a sweep. So with this, I'm going to have butterfly hooks in, and I'm going to turn just a little bit so I can load the leg that I'm going to lift with. Now, regardless of me lifting her leg or her, she's going to move at some point, and as the weight goes back and forth, it no longer is 50-50, it's going to be 0-100. One of her knees will take all the weight. And I'm really just focusing on this one. I know that she wants to move around my guard this way. If I'm here, she's going to come this way. She's going to use this hand to go towards me. That means this knee will take all the weight, and all I have to do is lift with my butterfly guard and make sure that she doesn't base, and I can create a sweep. So I can just sit here and wait for one just with my butterfly hook in place. So when the partner's sitting on their knees, I'm just here waiting with good control. All I'm doing is just letting them move naturally where they're supposed to go and catching the hand that's going to grab for me anyway. So, the basic sweep again, feet in, hand behind. I'm scooting in to create that angle. I'm trying to get my arm underneath the back here and hold on the belt. I'm going to take the sleeve and catch the base. I'm going to pull down so my shoulder is going to my knee. This one, I'm using my body to push her weight over this knee because right now it's too heavy for me to lift with my leg alone. So I use this to push, and as her weight starts to go over the knee, I can now lift with the butterfly hook. And remember, it goes up. I don't want to lose control of it by just tossing. And now this foot is going to rotate down for the knee cut, or however you're going to finish. It doesn't really matter how you come up, the important part is the sweep. What I do really depends on how good she is and what move I've practiced enough to blend in. But for me, usually it's the butterfly right to the knee cut. So again, I start square. As I scoot around, I keep an underhook. You can grab onto the belt, you can grab lapel, gi, or just have your hand around the back. I block the arm. You don't have to grab the sleeve or the wrist as long as you block. So meaning if I just push her here where her hand hits the ground, I can just time that and make sure she doesn't get to hit the ground. And then I can pop up, and again, whatever my pass or whatever cut is gonna go.
Right.